Welcome everyone. It's so great to see so many faces on this call. We created One Human Race. We've wanted to have a sort of Oxfam type walk equivalent for a long time, where we have a physical challenge that people probably originally sign up for, but with the end result being raising funds for a great cause. So One Human Race commenced for the first year in 2021, and we had a number of participants and raised over $100,000. And so we're just trying to grow that because it seems to be a real win-win for everyone. But So They Can we started So They Can probably 14 years ago now in reality. It was a response to the result of the Kenyan election violence in 2007, where 600,000 Kenyans were displaced. And Ken being one of them, with his own story from the west of Kenya, fled to the east of Kenya, a place called Nakuru. And I was sort of over there 18 months later and visited a number of the internally displaced persons camps, and the Pipeline IDP camp asked me to help them educate their children. So that's how it all began. We started with our Aberdare Rangers Primary School, which now educates 1,200 children a year from preschool to the end of primary school. And we have grown from that original school that we constructed from scratch to having 47 schools that we work with across Kenya and Tanzania. Everything we do in partnership with the Kenyan and Tanzanian governments. So our enhancement programs, which includes our child wellbeing, our women's empowerment, and our community health. And those three empowerment programs support our core education program, which is our 47 schools and our teachers training college that we built from scratch in Tanzania that educates 200 teachers a year that then we work with the government to employ, and they go on to educate children in Tanzania. So currently we support 33,000 children across those 47 schools in Kenya and Tanzania. And when we include the numbers of our clinics in our Women's Empowerment Program and Child Wellbeing Program, it comes to about 45,000 in the community that we support through our work. We need to raise $3 million to do that. And we could invest a great deal more money than the 3 million. The only thing that's stopping us is the funding. So this is where One Human Race comes in, because it's a concept of getting more people to give a certain amount and help us globally to raise funds in a way that's fun for them, but also is something that they might look to do every year, and then introduce the concept to others so that we can grow the amount that we raise through One Human Race. So as a One Human Race champion, all of you, it's a pretty crucial part of what we're doing, because without raising the funds, then we won't be able to have the impact that we're having on the ground and to grow that impact. So if you are able to put your hand up and help, it's a pretty phenomenal thing that you will be doing, and we will keep you very connected with the tangible impacts, as Emily will talk about now, directly related to where we use the funds from One Human Race. That's me. You're on mute, Em.
Sorry about that. UNESCO actually estimates that around 130 million girls are currently missing out on school, and there are a number of reasons why that statistic's so high, and we're going to focus on some of those today. So the United Nations estimates that 4.2 million girls globally are at risk of female genital cutting just this year alone. It is a shocking statistic. Unfortunately, FGC is a deeply embedded social norm in some communities. There are various reasons why it's performed. Sometimes it's seen as a rite of passage into womanhood. It could be a way to suppress female sexuality. It can support the likelihood of a girl's future marriage. And also it can support a girl's family's honour, just in terms of cultural expectations. So there's actually no health benefits associated with doing it, and actually it can cause quite a few problems for women and girls. So severe bleeding, problems with urination, infections, complications around reproductions and pregnancy, as you can imagine, all of which go on to further hinder girls and women's ability to be physically and emotionally independent. So just creating, again, barriers for opportunities to women and girls in different communities around the world. So one of the communities that So They Can is working with is in Pokot, which is in Baringo County in Kenya. And the community here face extreme poverty. Cultivation of the land is really difficult, partly because of very long periods of drought, but also then you can then get severe flooding during raining season, which makes it very difficult to grow crops. Illiteracy rates in the area are estimated at between 85 and 95% of the population, which is actually the lowest in all 362 counties in East Africa. So very high rates of illiteracy, and 85% of the girls in Pokot are subjected to FGC and child marriage before the age of 13. So this is why we're doing One Human Race, and why we're really thankful to have you on this call, because there are lots of barriers to girls' education in particular communities, and that's what we're trying to address. So just touching on that, so as well as FGC, another barrier to girls' education is child marriage. UNICEF research shows that 12 million girls each year are married before they turn 18. And actually, if we continue on that trend, 150 million more girls will be married under the age of 18 by 2030. So as you can imagine, it's hugely detrimental for girls. Girls who marry young are much more likely to drop out of school, or they just simply won't be allowed to go to school. They obviously have fewer years of education, so there are a lot less opportunities for them. They're much more likely to have children at a younger age and have more children, which has that knock-on effect with the environment. And they're also exposed to higher rates of violence by their partners. So child marriage and FGC can have a huge impact on girls' access to education. We just want, some of you may have seen this video before. It's just a short story about Shamkul, who is a girl that So They Can met when she was 9 years old. So I'm just going to play the video now. Oh, Ellie, I'm not sure why that's not working.
Sorry, go back to the. Yeah, it would have just opened it in another. So just unshare your screen, and then go to your Safari or your default browser, and it should probably have opened it up in one of those.
Or I'll just Google it. Sorry, everyone. Has anyone?
I've got it here.
Oh, have you? Can you share your screen?
Yeah, I'll just share my screen. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
school también lo jar sab tan ke ban tam mo jai también lo bune Chamayo na da school lakin me chamayo ka jar mana karam chamayo na ka chamba punya मेरे को जब मुझे स्कूल जाने से क्या उन स्कूल में नालूम चीज़ें न करा सोमना तेरा है तो फर्स्ट श्याम बगला स्कूल जहाँ वहाँ से मैं तो लेनो ताकि मैं ताकला सब मैं तो क्लास को मो करूँगा कि नहीं तो क्लास तो नहीं ताकि देखने बना माना nggak wani first aku ada tanya
Now to William, who is in Wanaka today for a bit.
Thank you, Cass. Did you want to add anything about Shamkal's story, Cass, before going on to talk about what we're doing in response to this?
Just that she's a young woman now that's pretty close to all of us, so they can. So when Kerry and I first went to East Pokot, we were working with some of the women through our microfinance project that we have there, our Rosisha Women's Project. And it was a group of women, and we saw Shamkal at 9 years old, just on the edge of the periphery watching. And one of our team from Kenya went over and started talking to her and discovered that she'd just literally that day run away because she'd heard that she was going to be cut that afternoon. And so we ended up speaking with her family, and they allowed us to take her to our rescue boarding school. And she has been supported there, and it has been quite incredible over the last few years watching the change in her family's perception on education to being very anti it because they needed the dowry from selling her into marriage, to understanding the potential impact and financial impact she could have on the family if she graduates and continues, particularly if she does become a doctor. And she's incredibly brave, and she represents a number of our girls in our rescue school that are doing the same thing as her, some without so much support from the family that we have to protect from the family. But there is definitely a sense that when they graduate from high school and go on to get employment or tertiary education, that they'll be accepted back into the family. So she's just epitomizes really for me, she's kind of like one of our suffragettes. She's doing it hard and being very brave to change the future for her sisters and daughters and nieces. So she's pretty incredible ambassador for us, really.
Great, thanks so much, Cass. Well, I will now share my screen, and we'll Cass will just give a brief overview of some of the projects we're doing to address barriers to girls having an education so they can, and then we'll go on to hopefully have a brainstorm.
Great, thanks, Em. So yes, one of our main kind of projects that we do in this area is, as I say, we support the sort of rescue boarding schools that the girls they go to, and that makes it enables them to be protected and safe. They'll stay in there for the whole full years of secondary education, so they tend to not really see their families for that 4 years, which is pretty hard on them, but they are starting to understand the reason for that and the eventual long-term gain and goal for that. Our main kind of project, so we have 10 education projects that we put into our schools, and around this specific program that 1HumanRace supports is our Keeping Girls in School project. So that is around providing human rights education for both our girls and our boys at our schools. It's interesting, as soon as you tell them that there are international, you know, then talk about the United Nations and you talk about the international rights that protect these girls, and that it is illegal for them to be married off at the age that they are, and it is illegal for them to go through female genital cutting, their whole sort of demeanor changes, because up to this point, these girls, and because their mothers have had to sort of feel the same way, feel that they're just the commercial property of their brothers and their fathers. But as soon as they hear that the law is behind them internationally and nationally, it's illegal in Kenya and Tanzania to perform FGC, then their whole, just courage sort of changes. And we've had amazing stories. I was speaking to one of the chief cutters a few months ago, and these older women, you know, it's an income generating activity for them, as well as a cultural practice to do the cutting. And I can remember talking to one of them, and she was proudly saying how she'd stopped cutting because our champions of change in Kenya and Tanzania that go and talk, the locals that talk to families about stopping cutting and child marriage, she said that they had convinced her to stop cutting because of the medical dangers around it and human rights and things. And then, so she was kind of telling me everything I knew that she thought I wanted to hear. And then I said, is there any other reason? And then she kind of got angry and sort of said, yes. And because through your My Voice project, which is another human rights project that we run in the schools, she said, through what you're educating the girls at school, they are now coming back and telling me that they will ring the police if I attempt to cut them. So I thought it was fantastic that we now have this dual effect of our champions over there working very hard to protect the girls, you all as our champions back here doing the same, and then the students themselves actually now being empowered by the knowledge of the legal protection they have to stand up to the cutters and the parents and say, this is illegal, and I will use my legal rights to prevent you cutting me or my sisters. So it's been, we thought it being such an embedded cultural practice, it would be very hard to change, but I have been incredibly pleasantly surprised at how quickly we are stopping the cutting over there. So it's very rewarding to be involved in. Did I miss anything, Em? Sorry, of course, yes. And we also, a really exciting project that 1HumanRace supports is our Nia Dignity Pack. So what we do is, so the horrible reality in the communities that we work in is that when our girls have their period, they miss school for that week because there are no washing facilities or at schools, at the schools generally, at the government schools, and there's no sanitary. They don't have any, they can't afford any sanitary products. So they'll just stay at home during that week. So, you know, you add that week per month up, and it's a great deal of education that these girls are losing in their sort of fight to get empowered through education. So our So Woman Can, SEW Woman Can, over there, they make these beautiful Nia Dignity Packs, which is made from Kenyan materials, and it's washable sanitary pads, and it comes in a pack with soap and instructions and underwear, and it lasts for 2 years, and the results have been phenomenal. Have we got that data actually, Em? I think it's now, is it 100% of our girls now are attending?
Yeah, back in 2018, I think 74% only 74% could attend school, but now it's 100% of girls can attend.
We're missing.
Yeah, 74% used to not go to school for that week.
Yeah.
Now it's 100% of our girls of that age are going to school due to the simple solution of these Nia Dignity Packs. So yeah, there you go. We've distributed 3,500 of them to our girls across our 47 schools, and yeah, it's very empowering. And we do it. We educate on the packs with the boys in the classrooms, because obviously it's one thing that the girls need to understand and have that support, but the boys are the next generation, so they also need to be making these changes. This is a gorgeous photo after running a workshop about girls' rights, and this wee boy then did an art project. He took it on himself, and you can't really see it here, but it's all about hands-off girls, and as young men they need to support the girls and see them as equals and not see them as the commercial property of men. And he did a whole kind of gallery project about it. It was wonderful. So it does seem to be working, which is exciting.
Thank you so much, Cass. So those are some of the things we're doing to try and address the issues. Obviously, we can't do it without support from our people like you. And so we just wanted to quickly run over how some of our supporters this year, so 2022, March 22, what they did to raise funds. We actually had over 400 people sign up this year for One Human Race, and we raised just over $88,000. So it was very innovative this year, and we had lots of different things happening. Some people, so I know Sean cycled 85 kilometers every weekend, I think. I ran and walked 85 kilometers over the month. So we had quite a few people doing that, or swimming. We had a couple of students at a school create 85 pieces of artwork over the month, which was which they just love doing, which just worked really well. We had some companies join together and actually spend a morning walking together. And they would also have a session. They had a session with us afterwards to learn about what impact their funds would have and what they were working towards as a team. So some groups have done it together. Some crazy people decided to do 85 burpees a day, which wouldn't be for me, but that seemed to work for them, and they managed it and raised lots of money. And then we had one family where the children in the family decided to pick up 85 pieces of ocean litter every day, which, as you can imagine, adds up over the month of March. So just lots of different ideas, and they were all very successful. Just a quick mention about one of our schools, which was I'm now conscious I'm going to get it wrong. It's Chilton. They, as a school, the whole school got behind it, and they actually raised $30,000. So $30,000 out of that 85. It's pretty impressive for one school. So we had some great ideas last year, and hopefully people will come up with new ideas next year. So this is where we wanted to hand over to you and have a bit of a brainstorm. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Ellie is going to share her screen. So we've created,
sorry, it might be worth, because I have to jump out at 4:15 for a meeting, which is like just in 5 minutes.
Yep.
So it might be worth you actually sharing this on your screen, the mural, if that's okay. I'll drop you the link.
Emily, can you please send us these slides that you've just shown us?
Yes, I will. Ellie, I don't have it open. Sorry, it's.
If you just click that link, I just sent it in the chat. It should open it.
And obviously, you know, that Chilton example from a school's example is a pretty powerful one. So the more we can tap into databases outside our own database, because we're always asking our people the same thing, then the more reach we've got. So trying to get as many people as possible involved is a key way to growing the One Human Race income. So yeah, those of you with connections to schools or universities would be fantastic to try and sort of, and maybe in a, you know, kind of a challenging way or whatever it is, but that seems to work really well.
One of the things I was going to ask you, to Ellie and Emily, is for us to have the second sentence sorted, because I was saying this is to stop girls being genitally cut and sold into marriage. And then some things came up about the boarding school for girls who'd already been cut, and it was a bit confusing given that I had thought that we were, and I told all the people, and when they went online there, it looked like it was for more than that. So I think the screen you showed us before with the different ways of doing the 85 Ks was brilliant, or 85 things. I think that works really well. And the 85% of our girls in Kenya is a nice way to talk about it as well. It would be nice to have the number of girls, not just the 85%. So the girls in East Pokot. So are we talking about, I think it was 300 or whatever the number was.
You mean that we then spend the money on, Diana?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Which we
So
can
it's
do.
80. The 85 is a really nice number, and it worked really well. But we did get a little bit. We had two different messages. One was that it was to stop the 85% of our girls getting genitally cut and sold into marriage, and then we had this about the girls who'd already been, in marriage and come and being cared for. So I don't think it's a problem to do both.
Yeah.
I just think we need to have those statements.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, nice and clear. That's really great feedback. Thank you, Diana. And maybe what I'll do, Diana, is I might get you to actually just review over the old page and look at any other things that you think we could improve on from a comms perspective or anything. Because then it makes my life a bit easier with those changes. That would be a great help.
We can do that. David and Avon are comms people, but I just flog it. I mean, I flog it out to my friends all the time, coming up to January, February, March, and I'm now working with the schools as well, and so it has to be this. We have to be saying the same thing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely, yeah. Because I think that's right. Like if you think of that Keeping Girls in School project, like it has those different aspects of it. Half of it is education based to stop the next generation being cut and sold into child marriage. But we also do work with those rescue schools in the Pocot region in Baringo County, and our work is starting to span out of just Pocot. We're working more in that actual region now. We've got more schools in the region, so we're probably going to change the language around where we're working for this project as well. But that would be awesome, and we'll maybe we can add that to I might just make another little slide.
And just to be clear for those of us on the call, it's a really good point, Diana. It's most of the girls in our rescue schools and in Yang boarding school have run away before they were cut or married, but there are a handful that were cut and married and then ran away from that marriage. So it's probably just a clever way, Ellie, using your communication skills to just add those two together in one sentence.
Yeah, great. I'm really sorry, guys, but I have another meeting which just so happened to clash at this time, so I'm going to have to jump out. But it's really nice to see all of you. I'm really excited about this, and I'll look at the board once I'm out of my next meeting, and we'll catch up on the comms and everything like that.
Great. So in your noting this down, aren't you? Because one of my big questions that I would love from the group is ideas around awareness of One Human Race, because obviously the more awareness we can get around it, then the more people participating. So sorry, go in.
So, well, I was just going to say, so some of the questions, and I'm conscious of, we did only book in 45 minutes for the meeting, which we're actually up to, but what I'll do after this meeting is send you all an invite, if you haven't had it already, to join Mural. It's actually quite user-friendly and intuitive. So you would, once you're in, you would basically see this, and you double click to create, and then you can change if you want to have different colors. You can just type things in, and then you can just move them around to different areas. So this is a board for all of us to work on and just start adding to. So part of it would be great if any ideas you've got around other champions that you think we can recruit that would really want to be involved in helping us with the campaign between now and March would be brilliant. Also, just any ideas around what resources would be useful for you as a champion. So would a school pack be useful? Would a corporate pack? What do you think what can we help with and produce in order to help you as a champion? Just ideas around how we can spread the word about it and get as many people signing up as possible. If any of you have got any PR or media contacts we could explore, we'd love to hear about them and talk about how we could do that together. And then just any ideas you've got.
Can I start off with being quite direct with you, Nellie, for example? You're connected with the Institute of Directors, and what kind of collateral or informational support would you need from us to try and engage them to talk to their networks for this? And is it something you think they would be interested in getting behind?
I suppose the first step for us was that it would be something we'd do as an organisation, so the staff that work for the IOD, but as part of that, we would promote that we're doing it out to our network, because we share stuff that we're doing. So therefore, then it would get exposed to pretty much anyone that's a member of the Institute of Directors, and we've got about 10,000 members, and they're all ranging from not-for-profit through to quite high caliber boards. I mean, Diana's one of our members, so that's a great example of somebody that it would get exposed to.
Nellie, just one thing, some of the not-for-profit boards are high caliber.
Yeah, yes, that's true. Yeah.
Some of the boards of private sector could be higher caliber.
Yeah. So I suppose our first approach is to get the staff on board, and for us it would be useful to have, I suppose, maybe a bit more of what you've just shown us around why and how people can be involved, because I liked all those other examples other than exercise, because not everybody in our organisation is going to want to run or bike, so that was really awesome to see all those examples in there as well, and the explanation as to why it's 85, making that quite clear as well. I mean, you've explained it, but making that really, because otherwise people are like, how did you come to get the number 85? But
is there a possibility, Nellie, that we can do a presentation briefer than this to your staff?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'll take back what I'm learning from this to the people and culture team who will lead this on behalf of the organisation. But I'd say that they would absolutely want that as part of getting everybody on board, is for them to understand and learn about what you guys are about. So
yeah, because there's an example of a massive another database outside of ours that could really take this to a whole nother level with 10,000 members.
But I also think that the presentation that we've just had is something that we should all have available. So when we get the opportunity, or when we're asked to do presentations to groups like In a Wheel or U3A or whomever it might be, we are all taking the same standard story out there. I think that presentation was great, and I'd like to have it sort of, in my hip pocket to use whenever, wherever.
Yep, sure. And we'll make it so it's editable, so you can, we could put it in Canva if you use Canva, which is quite easy to, we'll come up with a solution for how we can, you can customize it if you want to make a few changes if you want to.
So just you talking about ideas, my crew at my hair salon have agreed to do $85 haircuts one Sunday in March. And my challenge is to try and get at least 5 other salons doing the same.
Brilliant.
So we, I have a number of people I'm going to go and talk to about that, but having this material available when I go and talk to them would be fantastic. So if I can get 5 salons with, I don't know, 5 or 6 hairdressers and just an $85 haircut, which is cheap these days, by the way. It's just something completely different, because my crew won't run or walk, I can tell you now.
But Margie, that's a really great model, Ali, that we could present to dentists or doctors' surgeries or anything like that to actually do something similar,
How do we then, do they get sponsored to do that? Or how
so my crew have said they will give up one day on a Sunday between 10 and 4 and do 45-minute haircuts for $85 free. They'll volunteer it, and then we'll give that money to so they can. So they'll do as many haircuts as they can. We'll use our customer database to tell everybody we're doing it. My challenge is to try and get another 4 other salons, so there's 5 salons doing it.
Oh, sorry, so they're giving all that 85. That's amazing.
Well, it's their time they're giving, basically, and we'll give the cash as people pay.
Your time and their skills.
And Maggie's profit.
My profit.
Yeah. If we-
No, but it'll be the
Yeah, the profession.
yes, but it'll be the customers who are actually paying for the haircut, so it's fine. Do you know what I mean? It's
a great model.
Yeah. Something I like to do, sorry, it's like, well, I go a lot to rugby games a lot, and like they have this system where they after a try they donate a specific amount of money, like per try to to a charity or organization. And yeah, I find it really great because it not only gets money, but you can also like share awareness of the organization or the cause they're supporting.
Yeah.
So where does that money come from, Caro? When you say they donate, is it, for example, a team out of their funds would donate the money to a charity, and they talk about that during the match?
So for instance, every time a team scores a try in the big screen, you can say, I don't know, Australia Union donating $3,000 per try. Like, okay, and then it says, okay, after 5 tries, $15,000 donated. And you can see the name of the organization on the screen. So
that awareness with the whole audience. So have you got the connections to have the conversations with people about us being potentially?
Oh, I wish. I wish it was something that I saw I see every time I go to a game, and I think it's a great idea.
But we could potentially use our ambassador Andrew Durante for the football side of that, Em, if you wanted to note that down.
Yeah. One thing I think about is that we did say that we would finish, and I think we should do this again soon. And if you send the form out, I'm not very good at filling out those things because I think of it more when I'm talking like this. I'm sure everybody on the screen has got 5 ideas they'd like to share, and we don't need the introduction next time. We can just go straight into it. I wonder if we do another 3/4 of an hour Zoom where we just talk about the screen that you've set up. People can add to it in the short term, and then we throw ideas that we've thought about. So in 3 weeks' time or something, not too long.
Yes, that would be amazing if everyone was okay with that.
Well, I am, and I just think that it's always better to finish when you said, and then get people again. If you send that out, some people will be good at filling that out and think of ideas, and others that will jog our memory.
Well, if anyone
sorry, I just wanted to add one very quick point before we go, which was just to ask Ken, because we may not get him next time. So Ken, if you can still hear us, you would be open, wouldn't you, to us doing some stories around you back here to raise awareness around One Human Race? Because of course, Ken, you've got the background of actually being an IDP yourself, and with your family and sisters and what they go through. So Kenny, would you be okay for some of our comms people to work with you on stories that we can try and get into the media to grow awareness about this?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you, Ken. Well, we'll if anyone, I'll send details of how you can use this, and please put things in there. I might just I'll and then, as Diana said, I'll send an invite round for a similar time in about 3 weeks' time. But if you're not comfortable using this, just send me an email with your ideas and I can add them in. But please just get creative, use it. It's for everyone to use. Don't worry about spelling mistakes and things like that. And then we'll regroup in 3 weeks' time. Thanks so much, everyone. And so sorry we ran over.
Oh, that's all good. Thank
you, everyone. Lovely to see you all.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, giving up
nice to see you, Gabrielle. Go well.
Yes. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. See ya.